What's your vibe in the studio?
My vibe, yeah, I naturally, go in with the mindset like a song a day keep the doctor away.
Right.
Like, at least if I feel like if I can bring one song out, like I did something. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if I do one song a day or however, I feel like if I worked 360 some days or if I worked 320 days, I got 320 new songs.
Right.
So, I always have the mentality like you write the bad songs to get to the good songs.
Yeah.
You write the good songs to get to the great songs. And, even if it's not so, per se, like the best thing ever,
yeah,
I still feel like I have to finish the idea. But I thank God for the ear to be able to hear if something is like not good.
And that's crazy because that was like a transition question I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever written a song that is kind of like, and how do you know it ain't that?
Yeah, well, my ear is trained for radio first.
Okay.
So I think the reason why, like, there's hundreds of songs that get submitted to these artists in their albums, like Beyonce album. Thousands of songs are getting submitted to her for her project, and she had like a 10 slot one album that I was on, like 10, and all those people trying to sing, that, when you think of it, it's like,
that's
wow.
crazy, yeah.
But, when you look at, the process of elimination thing, you kind of have to have that same thing while you're creating.
Yeah.
It's like, what's gonna make this person not like it? So you have to be your own worst critic, I guess, at that very moment. While you have to capture that moment, and if you don't capture that moment, that moment is gone forever. I actually feel like the genius is to be able to have whatever's in your mind. If you can find a way to get whatever's in your mind to some type of data exactly the way that you heard it in your mind, then that's the genius.
You know how hard that can be?
Yeah, it's hard for people. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not easy. But I still feel like that's one of my gifts.
Right.
I'm not just calling myself a proclaimed genius or nothing, but I feel like that's where the genius lies. You know what I mean? So if you're thinking certain thoughts and you have these certain vibes, and you understand who you're writing for, and you understand why you're writing it, you understand there are other things. You have to know what they've done before. You have to know the good points of, I guess, the good parts of their career, or the highlights of what people like about them. If you don't understand the highlights of what people like about the artist that you're writing for, then you're already losing as well, because you're kind of shooting in the dark.
Yeah.
But you have to take certain points where you knew, they love when this artist kind of like breaks it down and have everybody saying,
Yeah.
Okay, what is going to be that for my song in this new album, and where they're headed and where they're pretty much trying to go as an act. You know what I mean? So you got to figure all of those things while you're creating. And personally, me, I don't go in the studio unless I have the ingredients in my mind.
Yeah.
I used to, when it was one song a day keep the doctor away.
Right.
But now I kind of like already have a game plan. I'm going in there. I'm specifically going in the studio for this.
Right.
I'm not going for nothing else.
But to do this.
I'm going to do this, and this has to come out the way I heard it in my mind.
Yeah. That's looking dope. So I saw you the other day on hip hop.
Okay.
Would you consider doing reality TV?
Well, in terms of what? Because I went on reality TV. Now.
Yes.
It's so crazy because I went on reality TV, but I went on reality TV for a real situation.
Right. So
that was really the situation.
The real reality.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing. Like, I understand reality TV. I don't necessarily watch it. I didn't even see the episode that I was on. Somebody had to send me a video of them recording it on their television. You know, it's so weird because I have had opportunities to have like a love interest and do that whole thing, you know, and my words to the love interest is always, literally my little words, it's like, I don't want to just be doing this if this is just going to be reality TV.
Yeah.
If it ain't reality.
You're like, right, if it ain't for real,
Yeah, because it's like, I don't want you to put on for TV and then when we take off and leave from shooting, you talking about reality TV.
Correct.
I want it to be like, this me and you, like we have something, a real chemistry.
For real, yeah.
Because we either love each other, we have the best fun, we best friends, or something that I can commit to, as opposed to committing to TV. But I've seen couples actually start families from reality TV, pretty much, you know. So I'm not going to down it.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't want mine to be fake.
Gotcha. I feel like a lot of these artists or people in general that's doing something, whatever their field might be, I don't think they pay enough homage to the people that have come before them. You know what I mean? And not saying that you have to like continuously do it. I just feel like there's a disconnect between the two. And the craziest thing is that the generations aren't that wide. Like, I remember growing up, you know, we grew up in the 90s or whatever, and I respected the OGs that was doing it in the 70s. That's like a big generation in between. These particular people were like born in the 90s, like kind of, so you guys are like right behind us, and it's like such a big disconnect in some sorts. So who would you consider that's like your OG? Like, I feel like somebody it's people that I don't know in particular, but I can name a few people that I even before I did this interview, before I do any interview, before I do anything, I sit down and I go back and I watch not to emulate them at all, but just to these other people that I look up to, like this young lady that works for TMZ, Rack Ranch. She does it. She's spectacular. People may like or dislike Wendy Williams, but she's definitely an OG. Like, her interviewing style is like beyond when she was on the radio, like shock jock radio, and obviously the mother Oprah, like just the way that she can get people to just converse with her. So who do you consider your OG?
I would say that one of them I actually came into business with, and that's Missy Elliott. Misdemeanor Elliott was in the business already for, I would say, 10 years when I met her. Wow. So a decade, or a little over a decade, she was in the business. So I'm learning from the person that I kind of looked to.
Right.
And I got a chance to be in the studio with her and Timberland at the same time as well. So,
whatever the case might be.
Right. Yeah. But there's no blueprint, or nobody can tell nobody how to retire.
Right.
Like, how do you retire? Is it a retirement, or did you fall off?
Right.
And it's like, you know, when you look at Soulja Boy, he's come back into the light. We're not talking about Soulja Boy because of his songs right now. We're talking about Soulja Boy because of his trolling. He know that. And he's smart. He's a smart businessman.
Yeah, absolutely. He's
always been that way. The thing about it, he came to the business that way. And I think the kids that were 9 years old watching Soulja Boy at 18, they looked at him like, I can do that. Everybody just came. They're kind of on the same page now. Like, we on the same level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like it's hard to pay respect and homage, and that's what Soulja Boy is really asking for.
Yeah,
that's what he really saying.
Yeah, that's literally exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, and then it's so weird because it's like, it's true.
Yeah. You know who I have this conversation with?
Who's that?
My 10-year-old son. My 10-year-old son.
Because he wouldn't know.
Right. So, I mean, obviously he came about when Soulja Boy, but he's one of those people. He reminds me a lot of me and his dad that does like this weird research. He's like a file cabinet full of stuff,
information,
because he does all this research. And he's like, Mom, so who is this person? And he came out this year, so he'll come to me like, Mom, did you see that Soulja Boy thing? So you know what? He is. I think he is telling the truth, Mom. And I'm like, yeah, he actually is.
Yes.
It's very true. Like,
yes.
Coming across this, like, this little trolling vibe, but.
Yeah. He started that.
Yeah.
He started trolling first.
He did.
All have a stubbornness about them. It's like, they don't want nothing to change. And it's like.
At all. And the craziest thing is, and they just to stay on Soulja Boy because he's popping right now, but that's literally what he was saying in essence. He was like, he took the brunt of a lot of it. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh, he's single-handedly ruining hip-hop because he was doing something different. But when you think about it, in actuality, he really wasn't doing anything that different. Hip-hop derives from something where you're dancing to. Everybody, there was always a dance to go with whatever they was rapping about. You got these kids over here break dancing or whatever the case is. You got them doing Big Daddy Kane literally danced in all of his videos. He was like a dancer. So he, in essence, is hip hop. They all danced in their like this
dance routines.
Full
Puffy was rapping on the side of Biggie.
All right, so this is the last question for real this time. How has your mom influenced your music?
Well, my mom influenced my music because she was the first person to tell me or ask me to buy one of my productions or beats.
Wow.
So if she don't play that music and she not around there singing, basically teaching us how to harmonize.
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest with you, because my dad would have started the church, no doubt, but if we wouldn't have had nobody singing praise and worship, then I wouldn't have heard the melodies and how things go.
Right.
I probably wouldn't have been beating on the walls as the drummer if she wasn't singing praise and worship.
Yeah.
So influence, it goes beyond the actual producing a song. It's just like influence is her being a woman in a house where I was raised with my dad and my mom, and her pretty much being a woman that's sensitive but yet strong, and sees the type of person and type of woman that she was.
Your mom was beautiful, man.
Yes.
I promise you that.
Yes.
All right, so I don't know which camera's still rolling, so I'm gonna look at this camera first. And then I'm going to say, all right, y'all. So that was Lamb, super producer Lamb, Litty, artist. What you got out right now? What's the singles that you have out right now?
My own songs, I have True Love out, I have Baby on the Way, and I have Your Birthday, and I just put out In Vain. So it's 4 songs I just put out. I'm just showing what I do, everything that I do right now. Like, this is fun. This is a fun experience for me, man. I take it serious. I'm sensitive about my, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's fun, right? And that's where I'm at right now. So, go get those records. All of them are available on all platforms. You can go listen on everywhere, And come check me out on Instagram at The Real Lamb, D-A instead of the, at The Real Lamb. And it's 2 L's,
Right.
Holla at me.
Lamb. Baby Talks. Thank y'all. Thank you. It's your bird. That's my jam, man. Like, I played that all day on my birthday. No lie.
Why you ain't staying to make no video?
I did. What I put on.
Send it to me.
I'm gonna send it to you. Don't play.
Don't play.